It is now 6:16. Stand by for some big developments at M&S this morning. Dominic will be following their results carefully.
Yes, there's a strong expectation that Steve Rowe, who took over as chief executive in April, is going to close some stores in the UK and overseas. A big development from M&S, which has shied away from store closures. It's an attempt to halt a long slide in the sales of clothing. We asked some shoppers what they thought of what M&S had on offer.
I do like Marks and Spencer's. I think the food is fantastic. I wish they'd do something about the fashion.
Yes, I like the shop. The only thing is it seems to be always behind the times, appealing to 50 and over, especially on the women's side. Seems very dull and conventional.
The quality of their clothing has gone down, and also some of it just looks plain frumpy.
Kate Hardcastle is an expert in consumer behaviour. Kate, those quotes rather neatly sum up our attitude to Marks and Spencer's, don't they? We love it, but at the same time we kind of hate it.
It's an unbelievable split between a successful business and a business with real challenges, because it's about 50-50 of sales to food and non-food. And food is seen as an innovative retailer, one that we love. We know what the whole USP is it for. We can all recite the adverts and is a tick box. But just a few yards away in many of the stores across the UK is this unloved, as described by your Vox Pops there, dull and quite frumpy department that still hasn't got itself together. The challenge I find is that that's perhaps inexcusable. It could have changed in this time. It could have actually listened to its consumers and given them more of what they wanted.
Well, that's a good point, isn't it, Kate? Because this is not a new problem. I can remember Jean-Luc Van der Velde, the Belgian who ran M&S back in 2000, explaining exactly what you've just set out. And yet nothing's been done on the intervening, well, not nothing's been done, but they haven't been able to solve it in the intervening 16 years.
That's right. And it's not just a retail problem. It's not just a retail problem. It's a Marks and Spencer's retail problem, because, there are all of the challenges the high street faces. More internet shopping, 15 to 20% of purchases moving online. The fact that we go for social engagement rather than just to make purchases because we're not dictated to. More informed and intelligent consumers. But others have been successful in turning round. A brand, for instance, that's taken the high street by storm is Zara, fast-moving fashions, which has stolen many of the heartland of Marks and Spencer's customers. And they themselves, as well as us as experts, have been saying this does not need to happen. You have the footfall, you have the desire, you have the loyalty, but you need to realise that this is a very different consumer, and it almost seems a bolshiness that keeps providing the same product, sadly with a decrease in quality through the years.
And you touched on a very good point there, the internet. So there's some figures out today from the British Retail Consortium showing retail sales up 1.7% overall compared with last October 2015, but online sales up a whopping 11%. And M&S hasn't quite cashed in on that, has it?
No, it really was sort of slow to market on the internet, and still I think to this time is not using the full use of how people engage with it. It's not just an online catalogue, it's really a resource and an opportunity to build again a further relationship, to make people feel special, and more than anything, as we've seen from the likes of Amazon, to provide sensational offers that people want to buy there and then. And I think even though people know there are challenging times ahead, I would imagine that many stores, many brands will have good Black Fridays in a couple of weeks, because people are going to say, look, I've got this disposable income, I know there's going to be an increase in prices ahead, and I want to spend it now.
Kate Hardcastle, thank you very much. We'll hear the M&S results at 7 o'clock and we'll bring them to you shortly after that.